Thank you.
All right, good morning, my little Greek geeks. How you doing? Yeah, that's what we are. We're doing Greek geek. I see someone had the opportunity to play with my markers this morning and write FSU rules in Greek. So we're going to go ahead and erase, not because I'm erasing that, but because we got it on my board.
Get your mark.
So there we go.
You're done.
FSU rules. Okay.
That's funny.
All right. Here's what we're going to do for this morning. I've got a fun lesson plan. This is exponential learning this morning. What that means is, you guys, we're going to take a big step forward in our learning. Some of you may think it's too big of a step, but I promise you, by the end of the day, your learning is going to take a giant leap forward. Because you're going to start being able to put the letters together, make words, and you're going to see how the words form sentences. It's a big step, but even if you didn't do your homework, I hope you did your homework. Let's do the letters together. All right, you guys are all geniuses. You have learned the alphabet. You know the alphabet. Now, we began with a vocabulary list. We have 5 vocabulary words. It's the word angelos, which means angel. The word anthropos, man. The word ego, I, myself. Theos, God. And the word kai, means and. All right, very good. Now, I'm going to give you this worksheet. On this worksheet, you will see an expanded vocab list that has 10 words, including the 5 you already have. So it really only includes 5 new words. But below it, you're also going to see verses written fully in Greek. You are not allowed to open your English Bibles. So if you have them open, go ahead and close them, because you will be a cheater, pumpkin eater if you look these up before we get to them. Okay? We'll pass those along. We'll pass a couple back and along. We are going to have some fun. Trust me. It's going to be fun for everyone, not just for me. But I will say this, if you're watching at home, and we have had people who've been watching at home, if you're watching at home, I will have this for download, because I won't be able to do much on the board today. We're going to be doing a lot on paper, so I'll put this on to download at the website. So if you're online, that'll help you out. Also, depending on your level of desire for studying this subject, and depending upon your financial situation, if you wanted to purchase one source material or one piece of source material that would really give you heads and tails above this, what we're doing in this class, would give you a big step forward, this is one of the things I recommend. I've actually met the author of this book. He signed it for me. He was so nice. And this is the English-Greek Reverse Interlinear New Testament. Basically what that means is you have an English Bible. Under the English words are the Greek words. And also it has the parsing, which we'll talk about in a couple weeks, what parsing is. It has, basically that's telling you what parts of speech each word is, and things like that. But this has the same translation that I preach from. So you could actually use this Bible, as long as I'm preaching in the New Testament, you could use it while we were studying on Sunday morning. You just have it there and read along.
Who's that?
It's by John Swand, S-C-H-W-A-N-D-T. Now, there are some people who would say, you know, interlinear Bibles are unnecessary. You know, you should just learn the language. But if you're in the midst of learning language, it can be a very helpful tool, and that's where we all are, just sort of learning as we go. And I think it can be a very helpful tool, as I'm going to be using it partially this morning on certain things, just as a reference tool. All right, if you look at the page I gave you, you'll notice that there is a box at the top which has a vocabulary list. After that, you have 8 Bible verses. What we're going to do is we're going to identify the words from the box in each of these verses. That should be a fairly easy task. After that, however, we are then going to translate the verse based upon the words that we know. Now, you may only know one word in the sentence. So I'm going to give you some of the other words. I'm going to help you find the definitions of these words.
Does every word of English has a word in Greek?
Not always.
And our language, like the nouns, pronouns, and the parts of speech, fall in different spots of the sentence. Is
Yes.
this broken down the same way?
Yes. Well, in Greek, there are pronouns and there are things like that, parts of speech, prepositions and such, but they would sometimes fall in different places from where we would put them. And also, sometimes there is one Greek word that has to be expressed with 2 or 3 English words. It's one Greek word that in English would be a phrase. Yes.
Okay.
So
the reason I ask is because you were describing the Bible, and when you said that under every English word was the Greek.
well, I'm actually going to make a copy of one of the pages in a few weeks. I'm going to show you how to use this one. But like if there's a sentence or a phrase that's one word, it would just have the whole phrase marked out, and the one word would be beneath it. And it would show that it's that whole phrase that's being contained in that one word. All right? Likewise, there are some times when there will be 2 Greek words that translates to 1 English word, because we have one word that means those 2 things. And we'll look at that as well. All right, let's go through our vocabulary list. The first word we all know is angelos, right? That's the word for angel. Now, the second word is a word that we all should be pretty familiar with. It is the word amen. Amen. It's alpha, mu, eta, nu. Amen. What does that sound like? Amen. That's right. And that's where the word comes from. It means when we say amen. Well, this is a good little interesting tidbit. Why do we say amen at the end of a prayer? What does it mean?
So be it.
So let it be, right? This is true. This is what we're saying at the end of the prayer. Well, the word amen means truly. In the King James, it is translated verily. And Jesus said, verily, verily, I say unto thee. Right? And that is amen, amen, lego, upin, I think would be the Greek for that. We're going to look that up in a minute anyway. Yeah, amen, amen, lego, eumen would be the verily, verily, I say to you. All right. Anthropos, we've already done. Ego, we've already done. Theos, we've done. And kai, we've done. All right, the next word down, how would you say that word? Would be cardia. Cardia. It means heart. And obviously that should be pretty easy for us to remember, because if we think of the term cardiac, that's a phrase that means heart. So cardia, when we see that word, should be easy for us to recognize in the sentence. The next sentence, the next word, how would you pronounce that word if you're not Jennifer? Just, huh? I'm sorry. I'm just kidding. How would you say it?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. What's the next word? Anybody know?
Lego.
Lego. Lego.
Lego.
And I always think if you combine that word with ego, it's Lego ego, but there's a form of Lego which is Lego my, which would be Lego my ego. And it means I myself say to myself. And it is a phrase, Lego my ego. Okay, but that, just think of Lego is I say. And sometimes I do little tricks to help me remember stuff, and sometimes it's cheesy, and it may not help you, but if I don't share it with you, I'll feel remiss that I didn't do my full diligence in teaching. If I think, let's go, sounds sort of like Lego, let's go, and I would be the one saying let's go, so I say. Okay, just a little cheesy way of remembering it. I say let's go, Lego means I say. Alright? Prophetes. That one's sort of easier. Prophetes means prophet. Yeah. Last one. Who wants to say that one? This would be Christos. That's right, Christos. And of course that is one of the words for Christ. Another word for Christ that you will see, you can write down if you want, would be Kurios. Would be the word Kurios. Kurios is the word Lord. You will often see Christo Kurios, Christ the Lord.
What are these numbers in parentheses?
The numbers in parentheses is how many times, I believe it's how many times it's in the Greek New Testament. I believe that that's what that is. I have to look back at where I got this.
Just the New Testament. Right?
Yeah, well the New Testament's written in Greek, the Old Testament's in Hebrew, so yes. This would be how many times it's written in the New Testament. Alright, so we've got that. Now we're going to go through each of these sentences, each of these verses. And again, you're not allowed to look it up in English because we're going to try to translate them. First, we're going to find in the sentence the word. The first verse, Luke chapter 1 and verse 30. In that verse is the word angelos. It's the word for angel. Find that. Shouldn't be too hard. Underline it. And above your underline, write angel. Now you have started the process of translation. You've translated one word from this text. Now, there's another word in here that you already know. It is the first word, the word kai. You know that one, so you can translate the word kai. Now, I am going to read it. I again want to reference the fact that this language, the way that we read it is the Erasmian pronunciation. So in doing so, it doesn't sound a lot like a real language. It just simply is sounding out all of the letters in the word. So it would be kai, epen ha, angelos, ate, me phobu, mariam, ures, gar, karin, para, to, theo. Alright, that's how we would speak or pronounce these words. Alright, and that's really, that just comes with practice. It comes with getting so familiar with the letters that you see them the same way you see the English letters. Because when you see the English letter R, you don't think R, you think R. You think the sound. When you see the English letter W, you don't think W, you think wah, wah, wah. Right? Well, it's the same way here. When you see the letters together and you see the diphthongs together, your mind will get to where it's recognizing the sounds and it's simply making the sounds as they are on the paper. Alright, so let's look here. Let's look at some words that we might already know. Just guess now.
What about the little markings above the letters?
Those are accent markings, and we aren't learning those just yet. But I'll give you one that's real important. Probably the most important one that you need to know right away is that if you see like an omicron, and you see an omicron with a comma on top, that means it's pronounced ah. But if you see an omicron with a backward comma on top, that means it's pronounced ha. That means you're putting an H sound at the beginning, okay? So this is the regular omicron, and this is the omicron with the ha sound. So I always just think if it has a regular comma, it's supposed to sound regular, and if the comma is backwards, I have to add a ha sound. And the same is for eta. If I see that eta, and it has a regular, then it's just a. But if I see eta with that, it's hey. And that's how I would pronounce it. So yes, the accent marks are important, but at this point I haven't wanted to go over a lot of those. But this one is probably the one you're going to run into most frequently. So thank you, very good question. Very good question. All right, so let's walk through and let's see if any of these words we might be able to guess what the definition of the word is. I think there's one here that you'll probably know right away, and that is the word Mariam. What is that? Mary. It's the name. It's a name. Mary. Okay, so you can go ahead and write that above. You know that one. Here's one you may be able to come up with on your own. Phobu. Phobu. It comes from the root phobos or phobos. Fear. It's phobia. That's where we get the word phobia. So phabu, as it is here, I've been saying phobu, but it's an omicron, so it should be phabu. Phabu would be fear. All right, now, you've got an angel, yes?
Where's the Maria and the Fabu?
Okay, let's walk through with me. You see the one that has the capital mu there, the capital M? Mu, alpha, rho, iota, alpha, mu. That's the word for Mary. The word right before that is Phi, omicron, beta, omicron, upsilon. You see that one? That's fear. Alright? Now the word right before fear would be, how would you pronounce that? It's mu eta. How would you pronounce it? Be may. May. Because it's eta would be the long A sound. So it'd be may. Now, the phrase or the word may means no or do not. So may phobu or may fabu would be don't fear. Okay? Do not fear. Right? Now, I tried to pick verses that we're all familiar with. You got an angel, you got Mary, and you got the phrase no fear. Anybody kind of remembering this part of the story now? Remembering the angel appearing to Mary saying, fear not? Okay? So now we at least have an idea of what this verse is. Is this the best way to translate? Not necessarily, but it's, again, we're just trying to learn how these words work together. We're not becoming expert Greek translators at this point. All we're trying to do is learn the words, learn how the sentences work. Now, there is another word here. It's at the very last part of the verse that you're also going to be familiar with. Except you're familiar with the word theos. This is theo. It is still the word for God. It just has a different ending. So you see at the end where it says to theo, that is another word for God. All right, so to is the article, so it actually would be the God. Who asked the question? Oh yeah, Chris. It would be to theo is the God, but the way we would say it in English would just be God. We don't have to call him the God every time, and as such, this is one of those times where two Greek words would be translated with one in English. The saying of the article is not necessary. You like you wouldn't say the red, the shirt, the boy. You would say the red-shirted boy. But they might say the red, the shirt, the boy. They might add the article each time because that's the way their sentence structure might work. Ours wouldn't work that way, so we would be able to condense it. All right, and that's the way articles work in Greek is sometimes kind of strange the way they fit together. But let's just walk through. Now that we've done the words that we kind of already know, let me just fill in the blanks for you and help you out just to finish out the sentence. Kai epen, ha angelos atu, and said, that's the apen, and said, ha is the angelos, the angel, and ate would be to her. Alright? If you were looking at an English Bible, it would be translated, and the angel said to her. But the actual, it's, and said the angel to her, is the way the Greek is translated here. No fear, Mary, or fear not. And then the word eures. Eures, there is the word found. Gar is the next word, is the word for in our language. Karen is the next word, and it is the word grace. That's an important word, by the way. The word Karen in grace, the word Karen in Greek is the word for grace. Where you get the word, when we talk about charismatic, gifted, that the charismatic is giftedness, and this is the grace gift. It's all rooted in the same word for grace, or gift. Para is with. I always think about the word para being something besides something else, something with something else. Parallel, like train tracks. One's with the other. So you get the idea there. And then totheo. So you have, and said the angel to her, no fear, Mary, found for grace with God. Now that doesn't sound good in English, but that's a straight translation. It's not how we would say it, but that is just a straight, if you put each word and its meaning under that, that's what it would say. And of course, if we made that proper, it would be, and the angel said to her, do not fear, for you have found grace with God. Yes?
What is the one between with and God?
It would be, in English it would be the, so it would be with the God, but we don't say the God. So we would just leave that one out in our translating. Okay, does that make sense? I mean, obviously we're learning. Some things don't make sense right away, but we wouldn't necessarily translate that. We could say she found grace with the God, but it would be an unnecessary translation. It would be unnecessary for us to say that. It's not necessary in English. Yes, sir.
And said, okay, in between it, and said the angel. Where's the S? The 0 or the O?
Yes, that is, ha is the article the. Interestingly enough, the article the in English is the word the. In Greek, the article the can have various forms. It can be ha, which is that. It can be the totheo, if it's connected to another noun. If the article is connected to a noun, it's going to have the same ending as that noun. But it's still an article. It's still forming an article the. There's only two, in English. How many articles do we have? Let's talk about. Articles are dangerous. Get off of this. But how many articles do we have? In English, we have 2 articles, right? We have the indefinite, and then we have the definite article, right? The indefinite article is a or and why would we put and? If the next word started with a vowel, right? That's when we would use the word and, okay? Greek does the same thing. They'll have endings that just, and why do we do that? Why do we end this with an N?
Sounds funny.
Because it sounds funny to say a angel. You say an angel, right? It simply is phonetic. It was a phonetic addition into the English language. Well, the Greek has the same thing. There are certain things that are done simply for phonetics. So, and, this is the same thing. It's an indefinite article. It's a rock, not the rock. Alright? Definite article is the. It's the rock, or it's the pen, or it's the board, or it's the person. Right? Rather than a pen, a board, a person. So we have the indefinite article, the definite article. In Greek, you don't have an indefinite article. There is no indefinite article in Greek. The indefinite article is assumed. If it doesn't have the definite article, it's assumed to be an anarthist noun, meaning an article-less noun, one without an article, and as such, it's assumed to be the indefinite rather than the definite. It either has the definite article or it's indefinite. Here's where that becomes an issue. When we read John 1:1, in the beginning was the Word was with God, and the Word was God. The last phrase there is kai theos and halagos. And the Word was God. God there doesn't have the definite article. So people say, well, it should be a God then. And the Word was a God, because it doesn't have a definite article. And if it doesn't have a definite article, then it would be indefinite, and as such would be a God. But that actually is that's a miscommunication of the rules. But it's something to consider. That's the Jehovah's Witnesses' argument. They say because it doesn't have an article, it demands an indefinite article, which is not always true. And you can demonstrate this in other places, because there's two different types. You have quantitative nouns and qualitative nouns. And I just ran away with everybody. But anyway, the point... That's what I said. Articles can really trip you up. The point is, though, in Greek, you're going to see the definite article come up a lot. And if there are little short phrases like this in front of a noun, like to theo, you almost always will know that's an article saying the God. To anthropo, of man, would be... but it would be of the man, because to anthropo, the to would be the article. All right?
Right.
We're way ahead of where we should be. I
lost.
was wanting to have fun today. I didn't mean to. All I want you guys to do really today is to be able to identify words. I'm probably running away doing more than we should. Let's go to the second one. Let's go to the second one. But you have all the words, right? All I'm worried about is we're translating the words. I'm not worried about parts of speech or anything like that. We're translating the words.
But the AV or alpha, whatever that is.
Where are we at?
On the first one,
Okay.
it says the definition of it is truly, verily, or amen.
Where are you looking?
In the box.
Oh, you're in the box.
Yes. But then it's spelled the same. Well, no, it's not. Never mind. I retract.
Okay. All right, let's look at John 3:1. And again, don't look at your English Bibles. That would be known as cheating. John 3:1. Let's figure out what word is in there. It should jump right out at you. There's one word that we all know. It is the word anthropos, right? Now, you know that word, so you can underline it, you can write above it, you can write man. You know the word anthropos. Now, I am going to read it. I want you to listen, because you will know at least 2 or 3 of the other words, because they are transliterated. What is transliterated? It means that they are not translated into English, they're transliterated into English, meaning it's the same word in Greek as it is in English, it's just written in an English way. But when you hear it, you'll say, I know that word. So just, with your ears focused. Ein de anthropos, ek ton pharisaion, Nicodemus, anima auto, archon ton iodeo. Or Udiah. I'm sorry, Udiah. All right, let's walk through it again. Ein de anthropos, we know that's man. Ek ton Pharisaion. What is that word? Pharisee. Pharisee. Pharisaion. Nicodemus. Nicodemus, right? Okay, you got it, right? You're starting to see there. Anima, ato, arkon, ton, Yodion. That one's kind of hard. That's the word for Jew. Yodion. All right, let's walk through it. Ein de anthropos. Ein de anthropos would be, ein is was, de is now, ek would be out or from. And that ek's one you need to think about. Ek is easy to remember if you think of the word exit, out of or from. You're exiting. That's that. Yeah, ek. And then you have ton Pharisaion, the Pharisees. So you have here, you have was now a man from the Pharisees. Nicodemus, anima. Anima is name. Yep. Auto would be his or of him. Auto would be, so it would be Nicodemus was his name. Nicodemus named him, or name was him. It would actually, in English, it would be whose name was Nicodemus. Archon, archon. Chief or head, ruler, leader. Archon, highest. Ton, Yodion, of, or, well, no, it wouldn't be of. It would be Archon, Ton, Yodion. It would be ruler of the Jews. Yes, sir.
Keith, don't we get the prefix arch from the
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, it's
Like
the highest
arch,
point,
arch,
arch.
yeah.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Okay, we've got the word "the" here.
Yep.
What about Omicron? I thought Omicron was "the."
It can be.
Reason why they're dead languages, got it.
No. I promise, I'm glad you mentioned that. If you look at the two phrases, the two verses, ton Iodion is the Jews. Yes, you have the word the. It's the article. If you go up to the verse before that, it's to theo. To is the God. If you look a little above that, ha angelos, ha is the word the. All of these are translated English the. But that doesn't mean they're all the same word in Greek. That's just the way we translate that. They have numerous words which are all to us the definite article. We just only have one word to describe a definite article. That's the word the. So we only have one word to translate all of the words that they have. Because they're just ways of expressing the definite article. So don't let it bother you. Hmm? Yeah, well,
Or we have the same, we have different ones that don't mean the same things.
they just have, yeah, they have different, yeah. All right. Perhaps this is not as fun as I originally thought. The key for today really was just, I wanted you to find the words we're already using in the verses. Let's do this one. I'll read it to you. You find the word that we're already using. Epen autois Jesus. Amen, amen, lego yumin. Prin Abraham, genestai ego emi. Alright. I said Abraham. That was the Greek. Or that's Hebrew. Abraham. Anybody know what that is?
Abraham.
Abraham. Okay, yeah, that was pretty easy. All right. Epin autos is, said he to them. And then Jesus is Jesus. That's one word. You really should just keep a visual of what that word looks like, because you're going to see that a lot, obviously, in Scripture, particularly in the gospel narratives. Now, I said this earlier. I want you to hear it again. Amen, amen, lego eumen. Truly, truly, I say to you. Lego is I say. Remember, let's go. Lego, I say. Eumen is to you. So, truly, truly, I say to you, Prin Abraham ganeste ego eimi. We know it's Abraham, right? Prin would be where it would be root for like the word prior to, prior or before. Prin Abraham. I'm not even going to make you try and come up with Genestai. Genestai is was. It's a form of the word to be or to exist. So he's saying, before Abraham existed, ego eimi, I am. Remember that? Ego, right? We all know the word ego, so you mark that one down as one that you already know. Genestai, that's the one I said. It just means was. Or it's a form of to be. So it's saying, before Abraham was, I am. One of the most important phrases in the New Testament describing the pre-existing nature of Christ. Because he says to the Pharisees, they say, hey, you're not even 50 years old. How could Abraham be excited to see your day? How could he long for your day? And he says, hey, before Abraham was, I am. He uses the divine name. Saying, I am, meaning I exist, not I exist or existed or I was, I am. I always have existed. This is a very important phrase. All right, John 1:1. Yes, ma'am.
What was the first two words in that?
Epinautois. Epinautois was said he to them, or said to them, and it would actually be Jesus said to them, because it's said to them, Jesus is the way the word construct is, because epin is to say, autois is to them, and Iesu is Jesus. Alright, who wants to take a crack at saying John 1:1? Jennifer, why don't you have at it? Go ahead. Go for it, Noah.
In the beginning, there was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God.
That is exactly right. That's the English. In the beginning was the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Does anybody want to try to read it from Greek? Anybody want to try to read this? You want to try to do that one? Come on, Jennifer. Everybody's looking at you.
I could pick out some of the words.
Go ahead.
Like logos.
Logos is there. That's right.
And
Kai.
Theos.
The word that I wanted you to find in here is the word theos. That's the, okay, we'll underline it and right below it, God. But I also wanted to show you something else. You'll also see the word theon. That is also God with a different ending. And the ending will determine how it is used in the sentence and how it is to be parsed, meaning how it is to be, how it is supposed to fit into the sentence. This one is rather easy to say for me because I've taught on it so many times, but it's an archein halagos. Kai halagos ein pros tan theon, kai theos ein halagos. This is one that's good to remember if you ever have a conversation with a Jehovah's Witness. Because if you start speaking that way, they'll think you're a robot and freak out. No, if you can break it down in this for a Jehovah's Witness, this is actually the first verse I want us to take apart totally once we've got where I want us to be with understanding. Again, we're still looking at letters. You might not realize it. That's what I'm trying to get you to do. You're still doing the same thing we've been doing the last 2 weeks. You're just looking at the letters as sentences. You're looking at it as words, but you're still just trying to form letters into words. That's why I wanted somebody, if you look at the first word, it would be epsilon nu, which would be in. In English, it would be in, but in Greek, it would be epsilon nu, it would be in. The next word, arche. We already learned, what does arche mean? It's where we get the word arch. It's the highest point, but it also can mean the beginning. It can mean the first. Back to the beginning. So in this sense, it means in arche, in the beginning. And then ain, ha, logos. And that's ha has the backwards comma. So it's going to be ha, ain, ha, logos, was the word. In the beginning was the word. Kai halagos ein pros tan theon. And the word was with God. Why don't we say and the word was with the God? Because it is an unnecessary translation in English. We don't need to translate the article into English. It's there in Greek, but it is not necessary in English. And then kai theos ein halagos. And in Greek it would be, and God was the Word. But that's not how we would say it. We would say, and the Word was God. Alright, we're out of time, obviously, so to getting on to the next one. This entire exercise, yes ma'am? Can I say it again? You want me to give you the words? Okay. It would be, in arche, it would be in the beginning. Ain was halagos, the word. Then it would be kai halagos, and the word. Ein pros tan theon, was with, and then those two words, tan theon, would just be God. Kai is and, theos is God. Ein halagos, was the word. Now, once you can do what I'm doing, which is simply sounding out the words, or sounding out the letters to make the words, you will be amazed how many words you already know because you read the Bible. You know the word Pharisaion because you know the word Pharisee, and it's very quick in your mind, because what you'll do, you'll read a verse in Greek and then you'll read it in English and you'll say, I already knew that was that and this was this. You'll be surprised how large your vocabulary already is, because you're already Bible students. You already know the Bible. Next week I'm going to give you a list of names and a list of numbers, and there's another list, I forget what it is, but I think it's a list of pronouns. But we're going to get this list and we're going to look at these words, and I'm going to build your vocabulary, but you're going to be surprised how many of them you already know. You just have to see that Abraham in Greek is Abraham. It'll be so simple for you that, and then you'll be able to pick up the Greek New Testament. You'll be able to start locating words that you already know, and it'll make you feel, man, I can do this. And like I said, you know more than you think you know. You just need to learn to start sounding the words out, and listening to what you're saying. Because like I said, you're smarter than you think you are. Yes?
Do you have any online resources that may help us study during the week?
I do. but I don't have the URLs off the top of my head. If you'll send me an email, I'll send it to you. In fact, I'll try to post it with a video. Like I said, this was an exercise simply to show you how to sound out the words, sound out the letters, and listen to what you're saying. Because you'll figure out words as you go. To start with, that's just one way of building your vocabulary. All right? Let's pray. Yes, yes.
The long with the backwards comma
Yeah.
pronounced.
Ha. The backwards comma adds the H sound to the beginning. That's on any vowel. The backwards comma would add a ha to the beginning. All right, let's pray. Thank you, Lord, for our time together today, and we pray, oh Lord, that as we move on in this class over the next few weeks, of continuing to build our vocabulary, continuing to understand how these sentences work together, and beginning to look at how to really translate and to understand the Greek New Testament. I just pray that you'll continue to encourage us to study, to love you with all of our heart, and seek to learn what you have to teach us, and always be willing to just submit ourselves to your instruction. In Jesus' name, amen.